Okay. I'm going to make sure that you do the rest of this next practice here, 10 through 15 on your own, to practice some of those things. I do see that this one is a little different. We're going to do simplifying these because you're actually adding and subtracting and multiplying things. So we're going to do some of these because they're a little bit harder. So you're going to do this one right here. When you do this one, you have x to the 3 times 3, which is 9, y to the 3 times 3, which is 9, times x, y squared. Well, what are you going to do? You're multiplying monomials, right? So you're just going to use the addition rule. X, x. So it would be x, remember it's 9 plus 1. It's the multiplication rule. Y, 9 plus 2 equals x to the 10th, y to the 11th. And that is your final answer on that. And so you had to use two rules. You had to use the power rule. Here's where you use the power rule. Then you have to use the multiplication rule right there. Okay? On this one right here, you're going to do the same on that one. On this one right here, you're going to use the addition rule. When you add, remember you just combine like terms. When you subtract, you use combine like terms. So let's just do this one for an example. You're still going to do the 2 to the 3rd power is 2 times 2 times 2, which is 4 times 2, which is 8. A to the 2 times 3, which is 6, plus a to the 4th times 3a squared. So on this one, you have to, this becomes, you're just multiplying here. So you're going to use the multiplication rule. 3a to the 4 plus 2. Because you're adding, you're doing the multiplication rule. 4 plus 2 right here. So here you have a, 8 to the 6 plus 3a to the 6 equal, now we have like terms, so it's 11a to the 6th. So you had to use 3 different rules here. You had to use the power rule. You had to use the product rule. And you had to use the addition rule. So you had to use 3 rules in order to do this one problem. And so you need to go back and make sure, when do you add, when do you multiply. You see this, when it's like this, you're multiplying the 2 numbers together. I'm going to let you do these 4 for practice on your own with the support of the answer key in the packet online. Then you're going to apply what you've learned, and you have to know the perimeter and area formulas. So the formula for perimeter equals side plus side plus side plus side, correct? Or length, the area is equal to length times the width. And then the area, the perimeter of a triangle is, the perimeter is side plus side plus side, and the area is equals 1/2 the base times the height. And that's how you get that. 1/2 the base times the height. So that's for the triangle. This one's the same thing. And this one would be the area equals 1/2 the base times the height, and then you're going to plus this one times this one, the base times the height. Plus the 2 here, the top and the bottom. And then you will get your answer there. So we'll go through this one right here, number 16. So the perimeter equals 5x squared plus, remember there's 2 sides, 5x squared plus 12x plus 12x. So when you're finding the perimeter, you just add those. You're going to add the like terms. So P equal 10x squared plus 24x. And that is your final answer. Area equals length times width. So all you're going to do is 12x times 5x squared. When we multiply, remember, you multiply the numbers first, which is 60, and then it's x, and it's 1 times 2, which is 2, equals 60x. I'm sorry, you add, not times. You add when you multiply, you add your exponents. Make sure you add those exponents. It's 60x cubed. So remember, it's x1 plus 2. You add those when you multiply. When you use the power rule is when you multiply the exponents. Okay, this one, perimeter equals side 4a squared b plus 10a squared b plus 3ab. Remember, you can only add like terms. So this one's the same and this one's the same. So we add the numbers, which is 14a squared b. We do nothing to the variables, plus 3ab. And that is P equals, that is your perimeter of that triangle. The area is going to be 1/2 the base times the height, which is A equals 1/2 the base. This is the base, this is the height. So this is your base, this is your height. 3ab times 4a squared b. Okay, so then you're going to multiply these like you normally would. So a equal 1/2 12. Then you're going to multiply a1, a2. Remember, you add your exponents. a1 plus a2 is a3. and b1, and b1 is b squared. So we're still 1/2 of 12. So what is 1/2 of 12? We know that equals 6a cubed b squared. And that's how you would do that one. The final this is your final answer. Be sure you box those final answers in. The next one is finding the perimeter. Perimeter equal side times side times sides. This is an equilateral triangle, so we know that all the sides are the same length. So what we can do is we can put 3, because it's 3 sides, of 20 m cubed into the 5th power. And we multiply the coefficients, the numbers. 3 times 20 is 60. And these just stay the same because there's no power rule here to multiply that with. Or there's nothing else we're not multiplying two things. Now when you find the area, it's a little bit different. It's going to be a little bit harder. It's going to be 1/2 the base times the height. Base, this is the base. The height is this right here. That's the height. That's your height. This is your base. So it's going to be 1/2 the 20 m cubed into the 5th. And it's going to be multiplying it by 4 mn5. Remember, when you multiply, you use the product rule, and you're going to add 3 and 1 and 5 and 5. So you're going to do what's in the parentheses first. So the 1/2 is going to stay there. 20 times 4 is 80. M3 plus M1 is M4. N5 plus N5 is N10. Then you're going to find 1/2 of 80, which is 40. M to the 4th, N to the 10th. And that is your final answer. The area of a trapezoid. It was a little bit different than I had remembered. I had to go back and reflect on that. First off, the area, because you're only looking for the area, equals 1/2 the top and the bottom. The top plus the bottom. Okay? This is the top. This is your bottom. And then it is multiplied by your base, by your height, which is 2xy. Sorry, it's base times height plus, no, it's your top and your bottom. Sorry, I wrote your thing out wrong. Area equal 1/2 the top plus the bottom, okay, of a trapezoid times the height. So you need the height. This is your height. This is your top. This is your bottom. So you have two sides, and your height is going to give you your area. So it's going to give you the area of this whole thing, because this is smaller and this is longer, so it has to be a little bit different. So we put A equal 1/2 the top 4x squared y plus 7x squared y times 2xy. And so we will find what's inside the parentheses first and multiply with the parentheses. So what you're going to do is it's going to be 1/2, and you're going to, these are like terms, so that becomes 11x squared y times 2xy. So you'd be 1/2 times 11 times 2 is 22. Then we're adding our exponents because we're using the product rule. X squared plus x1 is x3. Y1 plus y1 is y2. And then we take 1/2 of that. 1/2 of 22 is 11. X cubed y squared. And that's how you would do that problem. Okay, remember we had to take the top and the bottom, and we add those two together and we multiply it by the height. Radius, the area of a circle equal pi r squared. So it's going to be the area equals pi, because it's 3.14, times 3xy cubed squared. You're going to do the power rule here. So, and you're, so what you would do first is you're going to say pi. That's going to be 3 squared. 3 times 3 is 9. X squared. 1 times 2 is 2. Y, 3 times 2 is 6 because you multiply there. Then you're going to just multiply the numbers because we know that's 3.14. It would be 9 pi. We could multiply that. X squared y to the 6th power. And you